From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News Weekend Edition.
Good evening and welcome to the Saturday edition of the Fbx Evening News. I'm Stephanie Woodard. Our top story tonight, former University of Alaska Fairbanks hockey player 23-year-old Nolan Youngman was indicted Thursday on charges of sexual assault in connection with an incident alleged to have occurred in campus housing on April 5th. Now, yesterday, he was released from custody on $20,000 bail. Meanwhile, campus police are reportedly investigating two new sexual assault claims against Youngman. One is alleged to have occurred off campus in September of 2013, the other in April of 2014 on university property. No charges have been filed in connection with those two reports as of today. Four University of Alaska Fairbanks students have been indicted by a Fairbanks grand jury. Jacob Kincaid, Storm Phillips, Xavier Santiago, and John Clancy were indicted on 8 charges. Those charges include burglary, theft, and criminal mischief. According to court documents, the 4 students were caught on video vandalizing vehicles in a fenced-in area called the Deer Yard at UAF. University police say vehicles, snow machines, and nearby buildings were all damaged. The group also allegedly stole items and stashed them at a so-called collection site, as well as their UAF dorm rooms. Trial for their case is set for June. A Fairbanks man faces felony assault charges for allegedly attempting to strangle his ex-girlfriend. 24-year-old Isaac Preston Peter Jr. was indicted Thursday on second-degree assault charges. According to court documents, Peter forced his way into the victim's home and refused to leave. He later attempted to strangle her because she wouldn't answer his phone calls. A new district attorney has been appointed in Fairbanks. Greg Olson, the Anchorage-based attorney who has been handling the Arvin and Nathaniel Kangas trials, confirmed to the news center on Tuesday he was selected for the position. Olson, currently working for the Office of Special Prosecutions in Anchorage, is slated to begin in Fairbanks in June. He will replace former district attorney Michael Gray, who is now working in Bethel as the district attorney there. Legislative leaders have raised the potential of passing a state spending plan without a vote authorizing a draw from Alaska's unconstitutional budget reserve fund. House Speaker Mike Chenault said if the House and Senate majorities reach an agreement on education funding, they could finish the budgets and leave. As of late yesterday afternoon, an agreement had not been reached with the House minority, with support from which is needed for the House to reach threshold required to tap the constitutional budget reserve, but it could mean tapping other funds, including one that helps rural Alaskans with high energy costs. However, that would only fund government for a few months, and lawmakers would have to come back into session to address the deficit. Lawmakers have been gaveling in each day of the extended session, but all of the work is being done in negotiations behind closed doors. The House session yesterday was only 8 minutes long.
My day is get here before 8 o'clock usually, and that just starts meetings. Well, we don't have a 3/4 vote right now, and that doesn't stop us from leaving. It just stops us from not having a 3/4 vote and not being able to get into the CBR.
The coming week marks the 22nd anniversary of the unsolved homicide of Sophie Sergi. The 20-year-old's body was found at the University of Alaska Fairbanks. She was in town for a medical appointment from her village of Pitkas Point. Police have been unable to arrest or identify a suspect despite years of investigations. Now, a memorial for Sergi was started in Fairbanks to remember her and other victims of unsolved homicides in the interior. Organizer Shirley Lee says this year's Gathering of Remembrance will be held this coming Monday, April 27th at 1:30 p.m. The city mayor, along with law enforcement, will be in attendance. All right, when we come back, the Breast Cancer Detection Center will be holding an open house for the public, and we'll have more details on that. Also, men from across the interior gathered to raise awareness for survivors of domestic violence by walking a mile in some high heels. We'll have those stories and more when we return. And welcome back. A team of UAF students are back on campus after a dominating performance at the Pacific Northwest Regional Civil Engineering Competition. The department's Steel Bridge squad took first place overall and in every subcategory of the event. Participants designed and fabricated their bridges before regionals, then raced to assemble them during last Saturday's competition. Their creations needed to be able to support a heavy load without collapsing. Other UAF engineering students took fourth place in a cement canoe race. The Steel Bridge team will be headed to nationals at the end of May. Captain Daniel Yorkstorp says the team earned the trip to nationals by working hard all year.
A lot of time goes into this. We usually started in about September. We do a lot of fundraising and design in the fall semester. and then throughout the spring semester we do manufacturing. We as students machine the bridge. Nationals will happen May 23rd. We're really excited, and we're hoping to do the same thing again, just to win the whole thing.
What started decades ago has turned into a local life-saving operation. Since 1976, the Breast Cancer Detection Center, or BCDC, has provided breast cancer screenings to women regardless of their ability to pay. The BCDC will be holding an open house for the public on Monday. In addition to standard equipment at the facility, a new $500,000 tomosynthesis machine will be spotlighted. This state-of-the-art unit has the ability to see through layers of tissue in a 3D format, which decreases the time needed to review mammogram results and spot any potential cancers.
On Monday, we're going to have the Breast Cancer Detection Center's open house to celebrate our fundraising, to celebrate our supporters and everyone who's made our new equipment happen. We've got new equipment called 3D tomosynthesis, and we're just excited to invite everyone over to come enjoy an evening with refreshments and art, and just to see some changes that we've made here at BCDC.
The annual Interior Health Fair took place today at Pioneer Park. Hundreds of people of all ages were there to check on their various health conditions. There were vendors set up with low-cost health screenings and blood tests for anyone in attendance. Many people were there not only to receive the screenings, but also to learn more about their health from the many vendors. The activity is coordinated by one person, but it takes a massive number of volunteers to conduct all of the examinations and educate the community.
Basically, what we try to do is we try to offer a full range of programs. So people come in and they're meted and greeted. They go into the lecture hall and listen to lectures on medical topics, from Porter Heart Health Center to Alzheimer's. They then come in and they get by Companion Z, where they get to pet a dog and sort of relax a little. Then they get blood pressure done. They get height, weight, and BMI done. They get registration, they go get their blood drawn, they come out. And so this is an all-in-one event. And then they get to see about 40 or 50 exhibitors that can actually teach them a variety of things about their health.
This afternoon at Pioneer Park, men from across the interior strapped on stilettos to raise awareness for survivors of domestic violence. Walk a Mile in Her Shoes is a march to stop rape, sexual assault, and gender violence throughout the interior. The walk benefits the Interior Alaska Center for Nonviolent Living. Many organizations throughout the community took part in the event, including service groups and banks. Miss Alaska International's Shayla Silva has taken on this campaign because she herself was a victim of domestic violence. She says the event is important because it helps bring attention to the high rates of violence against women in our state.
Last year, I found my voice in being a survivor of domestic violence and sexual assault. And in my journey of sharing my story, it brought so much healing to me and what I went through. And from that point on, I decided that I was going to do whatever it took to really stand and be a voice for this pandemic. You know, Alaska leads the nation 3 times the national average in domestic violence and sexual assault and child abuse. So to know those statistics, it's so important that we watch those numbers diminish, but we can't do it without the support of our communities and speaking up, because that is what is truly going to put an end to this infection in our community and in our state.
All right, Mike Fussell is coming up next with all your local sports action, including a look at the mixed martial arts competition that took place last night. That story and more after the break.
Welcome back, Interior Alaska. Mike Fussell here with your latest local sports action. We have a lot to talk about today as many area athletes are out enjoying the nice weather. But first, we'll stay inside with a look at some postseason hockey. The Ice Dogs laced up their skates for the first game of their second postseason series on Friday night against the Minnesota Wilderness. Fairbanks' Mitchell Bauman found one early in Minnesota. He was the lone scorer going into the first intermission. Spectators had to wait until the third to see another goal, as the second period was scoreless. But the Wilderness answered back to tie up the game with a shorthanded goal by Darian Romenko early in the final period. Romenko would stay hot and deliver another shot between the pipes just minutes later during a power play. The Ice Dogs were not able to respond by the final whistle, leaving the score at 2-1 with Minnesota taking the win. The Wilderness now have a 1-0 lead in the series. And many high school soccer teams were on the road this weekend, but Monroe and Hutchison's co-ed squad stayed in town for a Friday matchup. The first half saw no scoring as both teams controlled the ball in their own territory. But shooters converted opportunities in the second. JT Minder and Garrett Grawheck each tallied one for Monroe, while Logan Curtis collected a goal for Hutchison. Rookie Monroe goalkeeper Edwin Erickson helped seal the 2-1 victory for the Rams. With several key saves, Erickson says his teammates have really helped him get adjusted to the game.
Helping me a lot and like showing me where to be and during goal kicks and PKs and stuff, and how to boot the ball better and stuff like that. They're helping me a lot. First of all, yeah, you know, our defensive back line was really good, and we got a lot of good looks on goal, and we got lucky and got 2 goals, one more than them. So.
And the Allison Ravens and the Hutchison Hawks met up at Marlin Park for an early season baseball game today. Allison took advantage of a number of walks and stolen bases on several wild pitches, scoring 6 runs throughout the first 3 innings. Hutchison answered back right away at the bottom of the third, scoring a run, but from then on, it was all Eielson. The Ravens got hot in the 5th inning where a double batted in 3 runs. They would go on to score more than 4 after that, nearing a mercy rule situation. Check back for full results and the scores to other games in the weekend recap with Joe Cook on Monday. And fighters from across Alaska and even as far as Chicago journeyed to the Carlson Center last night. Mixed martial artists went head-to-head in the 9th Solid as a Rock Fighting Championships. And the KTVF sports team got a chance to take a closer look at the action in the cage.
The Carlson Center was almost as full as the fight card last night at the Solid as a Rock Fighting Championships. Female grapplers stepped in the cage first to kick off the action. These bouts could only be won by submission and often went into multiple overtimes. But some of the MMA matches that would follow ended in a flash. John Howard took the technical knockout in the first round against Casey Collin with this solid striking performance, and 170-pound Derek Bush unloaded on Charles Wells for an early TKO as well. The third battle of the night pinned 2 local fighters against each other. Stephen Quadres got his hand raised in the final round after his opponent Austin Scallon was not able to continue fighting. In one of the first professional fights of the night, Parker Nielsen came out swinging against Michael Almiera. Nielsen landed a number of shots from his feet, but ultimately took it to the ground to finish the fight by submission.
So I just tried to keep the distance and punish his mistakes. Pop, pop, antagonize him, pull back, hope he'd come for something, exploit the weakness. I thought it was a dream come true. He hit the ground and I was like, the words don't describe the bliss I felt.
2 Goliaths battled it out in a heavyweight pairing just before the main event of the evening. Elton Price made 345-pound Jonathan Bishop tap out in round 2, taking the win in the big man class. The excitement mounted when Frostbite Valley Tuto's undefeated Vince Friclione won early against Michael Williams, who was unable to answer the local fighter's punches. In the main event, Anthony Pacho took on contender Seth the Mad Viking Kroll for the 155-pound title belt. Kroll leveraged his strengths as a stand-up fighter, landing a number of kicks to the head, but after the first bell, Pacho took it to the ground and forced Kroll to tap out in the second round.
He's isolating his head and his arm. And in the second round, I was like, you know what, he's going to do it again, but I'm going to capitalize, I'm going to put him away. But I felt it, and then I was squeezing, and usually, if you don't get that, you're going to burn your arms out. But I'm like, this guy, he was getting really tired. I was like, you know what, I know I'm going to get him.
Pacho holds on to the title belt with the win and is now 11-1 in professional fights.
And that about brings us to the buzzers for sports tonight. Stephanie Woodard is up next with your full weather forecast. Thanks for checking in, and we'll see you next weekend.
All right, well, the weather is certainly warming up, Fussell.
Yeah, it's definitely, I've seen that out there at the baseball games today. It's been a great day to be outside. And I think this is really hilarious. We were talking earlier, you saw your first mosquito, huh? Yeah, it's pretty big. They are pretty big. They're like the size of your thumb up here. Yeah, and there was quite a few, so. Carry bug spray, always. That's. All right, well, let's take a look at our forecast for tonight. Okay, starting off with our normal high, 51 degrees, normal low of 28 degrees. Record high 69 degrees set in 1997, record low 0 set in 1948. The sun rose this morning at 5:41 a.m. and will set at 10:01 p.m., giving us a glorious 16 hours and 21 minutes of daylight. Let's take a look at conditions across Alaska. Up in Barrow, ooh, they're still pretty cold, 25 degrees. Fort Yukon, 52 degrees. In Fairbanks, we had partly cloudy skies today, 56 degrees. Over to the southeast, you can tell they're under showers, 59 and 55 in Juneau and Ketchikan. In the Anchorage Bowl, it looks like Kodiak is experiencing some rain as well, 43 degrees there.
Anchorage is at a 54-degree temperature, and over on the west coast, it looks pretty calm there. Cold Bay, 41 degrees, Bethel, 50 degrees, and over in Nome, 41 degrees with partly sunny skies. Okay, let's take a look down the lower 48, see what's going on down there. Over in Seattle, rain showers, 56 degrees. Down in San Francisco, 61 degrees. Las Vegas, ooh, that's a little chilly for Vegas, 72 degrees. Phoenix is at 81, and if you take a look over at Dallas, they're under some storms there, 87 degrees. They have been experiencing some pretty severe weather, tornadoes, and all sorts of things like that, so keep an eye on that area for sure. Up in New York, my home state, 60 degrees. Partly sunny skies, that's pretty good for them this time of year. And let's scoot on down that side of the United States to Miami, 90 degrees. I think we can all agree we wish we were experiencing that kind of weather. All right, let's take a look at the jet stream. It looks like it's diving down, and for next week, or into tomorrow, excuse me, those thunderstorms look like they will continue for the south. So again, keeping an eye on that area. All right, back to Alaska for tomorrow in the northern sections, mostly sunny skies across the northern sections, 23 degrees in Barrow, a little bit chilly there, but Fort Yukon at 51 degrees and Nome 35 degrees, no showers there. Let's take a look at the interior, sunny skies, and look at, guys, we might even get close to 60. 58 degrees expected here in Fairbanks, 56 in Delta, and 53 degrees in Healy. All right, taking a look over at the southeast. Rain in southeast Alaska, 54 and 52 in Ketchikan. It looks like those showers will continue there. All right, and over to the southwest, partly cloudy in Bethel and Cold Bay. Scattered showers for Kodiak. Looks like the temperatures there will stay between 40 to 47 degrees. And lastly, let's take a look at the Anchorage Bowl. Partly sunny for Anchorage and Valdez. Scattered showers in Homer. Temperatures there will remain in the 50s. Not too bad. All right, and for tonight, 32 degrees, partly cloudy skies. Not too bad. 58 degrees for tomorrow, mostly sunny skies like we said earlier. And let's take a look at the extended forecast. 50s across the board, we can't ask for more than that, and 30s for overnight temperatures. Partly sunny skies. It doesn't look like there will be very much precipitation, if any, into the week, but that could always change, and we'll check in on Monday with Mike Schultz about that. All right, that looks pretty good.
Yeah, that looks great. The temperatures are awesome.
Yes.
The daylight is getting a little weird for me, though.
I was going to say that to you. So, okay, you need to buy blinds that block out the sun, or else you won't be able to sleep.
Yeah, I'm up at 11:30 now just doing stuff because it's so light out. So.
And then you don't realize it is almost midnight, time for bed.
Yep, exactly.
All right, thanks, Fussell. That'll wrap up this edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. As always, we're really glad you could join us.
Join us here 6 days a week at 6 and 11 or online anytime at webcenter11.com.
All right, from all of us here at the News Center, we hope you have a great weekend.